What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the vlog. Today we're getting back to the roots of kind of what my whole channel is really about. I was actually going to go out this morning. It's bright and early in the morning. I was actually about to go do some driving with the Veloster N out in the canyons, but I was thinking more about it and I'm like, you know what? I don't think that's going to move the needle on my channel. I'm getting back to the roots of like truly what my channel is really about though. But so with the Jeep, I did this topic years ago, I think. Is a Jeep a good daily driver? Can you have a Jeep as your only vehicle? My perspective, I've owned a couple Jeep Wranglers now. This is my third one. I've always loved them. Always thought they were super cool. I'll give you guys my true and real just impressions of like, can you really have a Jeep Wrangler as your only vehicle? Does it make a good daily driver? Honestly, the cool thing about it is like so many people want Jeeps. All right, so let me break it down for you real quickly. In the past, Jeeps in the past, they were definitely a lot more rougher than like the newest iteration of them. The old Jeeps, which I had, they were the older JK version. So the JK is from like 2007 through 2000. Technically the end of 18, but like 17 is when they really like, that was the end of the JKs. In the prior years or the early years, 2007 through 2010, they had the super old interior. So that was the version that I had. To most other people, when they got inside of, my Jeep, they were like, oh, this thing is rugged. It's very cool, but it's very rugged and it's kind of, personally though, I honestly loved it. I loved just the fact of how raw and how just like analog everything was. It was hard plastics. It really felt like you were inside of like a tank or like a Tonka toy, something like that. It just felt very analog and just raw because it was just so raw. Everything was just really mechanical. It wasn't like a lot of electronics in it at all. Only thing my Jeep had was literally like a radio, and I didn't even have like automatic like locking doors or like windows. I loved it, but it was kind of hard having it as my only car and as the daily driver. My wife, she had her car, but for me that was my only car, and I drove that everywhere. And I had the soft top, which was cool because in the summer you can like drop it down real quick, and it was nice for that. Even if you just did like the front portion, I would kind of like halfway do it. It was great for that. After a while, it did get uncomfortable. It was kind of a pain in the butt to like roll windows down, up and down. There was certain things that it just didn't make it the best daily driver. But for me personally, I still enjoyed it a lot. I remember when I did some bigger tires on the Jeep, it actually helped the ride quality a lot because it was kind of harsh. But with the bigger tires and the more sidewall, it kind of helped cushion it, and it actually improved the handling because the tires that I got, they were much wider than the stock tires, and it actually helped the handling on it, a ton. So now, fast forward to now, I had that Jeep for a while, sold it, got into a Dodge Challenger. After that, Focus RS, had some other vehicles. So that vehicle was gone. Even my prior Jeep before that, that one was gone as well. Coming now into the newer JLs, this iteration, I would say is a lot better. So for me, when I had my older Jeeps, and I also had a couple other like just Jeeps, they weren't necessarily Wranglers, but I had a couple other Jeeps in that time period, like before I got this vehicle now. When I first stepped into the JL, I was literally like jaw dropped. Like, I've always knew about them and like researched them, looked at videos of them and everything like that. So I knew what I was getting myself into because when I wanted a Jeep, like a newer Jeep, I knew that I wanted a JL over a JK. But I didn't realize how much better the interior was until I stepped into it for myself and saw it. Don't get me wrong, in comparing it to like a luxury vehicle or something like that, it's not gonna like really compare. But in the mindset of a Jeep owner, it actually does. It really, like the interior has gone leaps and bounds over what it was before in the past. It reminds me of the Challenger a lot. You can see the Fiat Chrysler inspiration inside of it because it has a lot of the similar features, like the Uconnect system is the same. A lot of the buttons and layouts, they're not exactly the same, but have the same feel. There's probably some parts sharing, probably not a lot, but there's probably some stuff that's kind of carrying over just a little bit. I honestly think like the interior in here is great, especially nowadays. I'll tell anyone, if you do want a Jeep, like I would say seriously get the JLs over the JKs. Unless you want to add like your only like off-road vehicles or something like that. Then I would say honestly you can go with even the TJs, even the older Jeeps, because at that point in time, if it's just a toy, like yeah, you can totally go with even the older ones. But nowadays, if you want those creature comforts, getting the newer Jeeps is really worth it. If you're a subscriber of my channel, you would probably know we literally took this Jeep across the country multiple times now, which is kind of crazy to really think about. And yeah, it don't get me wrong, it's not perfect. Most of the people who are coming from like high-end luxury vehicles, when they get inside of a Jeep and they feel the characteristics of this thing on the highway, they're like, I don't like it. I still think it's a great vehicle, but you have to understand it is a solid axle truck. It truly is a solid axle rear-wheel drive truck, and there's no getting over that. It's not going to be as comfortable as a unibody vehicle. It is a body on frame truck. That's what it is at the core of it. It is a truck. It's not going to be a luxury vehicle. Even some of the newer trucks now, I mean, trucks now are like luxury vehicles themselves. They have so much cushion and so much this and so much that. Getting the highest trend Jeep, you're going to be getting a Rubicon, and the Rubicon, it's still not a luxury vehicle. Like the luxury version of a Jeep is really the Sahara, and even with that, it's still not going to be as comfortable as some other vehicles. That's the reason why, like, I think even like the Ford Bronco, the new Ford Bronco, not the Bronco Sport, the actual Ford Bronco, the body on frame truck that is a true comparison to the Jeep. A lot of people are interested in that because that is not as, how should I say, raw, a little bit more creature comforts, and it's a little bit better like on road. So for sure, this is not the best thing on road. But it has so many benefits. I can say, especially now living inside the LA area, roads out here and stuff like that, I have no problems going over anything and like just driving. Like I feel like it really does make like driving so much more of a pleasant experience. A lot of times we will drive the Jeep over like my wife's Veloster N, only because like the Veloster N is so low to the ground, like you gotta worry about scraping, anything like that. And this thing, go over train tracks, go over whatever, it doesn't really matter. So also another benefit of driving inside the Jeep is the fact that you sit higher up. It gives you more of a commanding view of the road. It is a nice feeling, you know, just sitting a little bit higher up. Especially like, so my Jeep, I just have some Rubicon wheels and tires on here. I didn't even do my lift yet. So my lift is actually going on pretty soon. But just with this, it raised up the driving stance up, just a couple inches, and it has helped out a lot, especially just driving in traffic. Not even talking about like off-road or anything like that right now, but just like in traffic. It's a nice feeling just to sit a little bit higher up. I know my wife, she loves driving it. She drives this thing all the time over her own vehicle because she likes sitting up higher, and it makes you feel more secure, especially when you're driving in like traffic though too. If I have to be 100% honest with you guys, what do I truly think? Does a Jeep make a good daily driver? It really depends on you. Someone like me, I can look past its downfalls. I use my Jeep to go off-roading and stuff like that. I just think Jeeps are cool. I really do, like all Jeeps, like not just Wranglers, Grand Cherokees, especially the older ones. I've always been a fan of that. So for me, I look past a lot of stuff. So really, like the best thing that you can do is I would go do a test drive. See if you really like the driving characteristics of it. They're not perfect on the road, any means of the imagination. They kind of wander a little bit. They go this way, go that way, especially with the wind. They are top heavy. But the one thing I can say about the Jeep is anytime that I drive this thing, no matter where I'm going, not going fast or anything crazy, I have a blast. I personally have a blast, and I think that's like one thing about the Jeep that is really cool. Like you just have a blast, really. Guys, you can check out this playlist right here where I have done everything to this Jeep, all my content on this Jeep. Or if you want, you can look down inside the description or inside the comment section. I have a playlist of my older Jeep where you can see all the content on there. If you want to see more of what my thoughts are about having a Jeep as a daily driver, check that out. See you in the next one.